The moment Zach Shallcross was cast as the lead role in season 27 of The Bachelor, we collectively shifted the selection. Zach was bland, so simple, robotic. How could he present a good television? Now I understand why the producers of The Bachelor wanted him. They needed a bachelorette that would respect the Bachelor process, from the night's limousine entries to a bid in Monday's finale. They needed a bachelor that wouldn't send both of their finalists home before the final. Clayton did, flip-flops for her fiancé, as Peter and Arie did, or, Colton did, literally jump over a fence to escape production. No, Zach was here to be The Bachelor's perfect bachelor, and a staunch follower of Sean Lowe doctrine. Zach became the first single since Nick Viall in 2017 to simply choose between two women in final, propose and leave. After the last rose, as a couple with him. But as Zach stuck to Bachelor script, the finale reminded us that although this show has been sold to us as a story about love for decades, at its core it is a show about heartbreak and emotional manipulation, and finale format specifically. Unmerciful. Zach's finalists, Kaity and Gabi, were asked to dress up and prepare a speech for Zach. In many ways, this was the least dramatic finale ever. Of course Zach would choose Kaity. Honestly, if it's not you, nobody is, Kaity said. This result was pretty obvious, even viewers who hadn't been spoiled for weeks, even Gabby seemed to know this, and at no point in Monday's 3-hour live finale did host Jesse Palmer even try taunt that it would be a shocking change. No, Jesse said, it would just be very, very sad. Prepare yourself, it will be difficult. This whole finale is set in the shadow last week's disastrous fantasy suite dates, when Zach announced he wouldn't have sex with any of his 3 girlfriends, only to change his mind in the middle of a date with Gabby. She immediately told the production crew what had happened with the cameras off, hurt Gabi's feelings when she couldn't keep their private moments a secret, and hurt Gabi's feelings by openly revealing something she thought was happening but didn't want to know. And he hurt her by saying nothing to Ariel, whom she sent home after fantasy suites. As Monday's final begins, Kaity has largely managed to get past Zach's fantasy suite missteps, but Gabby is unable to do so and wants to talk Zach before agreeing meet her family and continue on their final date. She tells him she feels like a complicit and asks Zach if she regrets sleeping with him. She says she didn't and reassures him by explaining that he opened his eyes and gave him human feelings. Like love in my heart, says Zach. Like fainting. Somehow, that's good enough for Gabby and she chooses to stay with Zach instead of following her instincts and telling her to kick a stone. Gabi's intuition turned out to be incredibly strong when it comes to Zach. If Zach knew how he felt about me, he would have told me, Gabby says as she bursts into tears. That's not me. Compared to Kaity's breezy final dates, it's hard to build too much tension. Before most dramatic finale ever, The Bachelor would actually milk the day of proposal by exchanging rings with Neil Lane. Ready-made assemblies and long limousine rides designed to leave the audience guessing which competitor will get out of the first limousine. We saw almost nothing this time, a short square of Gabi's neon yellow dress, that was enough for us to know right away that he was going to leave moment the van door opened and he stepped into car with his thin golden heel. Mud. It's a really muddy place, you shouldn't go right there, Gabby said to someone off camera. When Kaity comes, don't do that to her. It's a devastatingly self-aware line. Gabby knows what's going to happen to her and lets Zach wander through the foreword her breakup speech before finally interrupting her. Can you stop? I knew you would come. What I don't know is why you didn't tell me when you knew. Such is brutality of Bachelorette finale. We know that Zach did indeed make up his mind before day of his proposal. He said same thing to Jesse during, after last rose. She made her decision on a last chance date with Kaity, the day before her last date with Gabby and 2 days before she proposed. That was humiliating, Gabby says as she drives away. I was nervous all this time, for what? Here's what, Gabi So The Bachelor can get back on track after so many downtime seasons. But before we return to Kaity, Gabby will be seeing Zach for the first time since their breakup in Thailand. Jesse teases Zach with a simple but meaningful question by asking what was the most painful part of revealing his sex secrets. Gabi empties. She says that Zach told her, "Just keep this between us," before the cameras turned the next morning, and that felt offended when she used his name while discussing with others why I felt guilty. "I wish you'd sent me home and saved me from all the pain that just went on," Gabi says after the last rose. "I see, sex sells, but now I've become a narrative. It's really painful." The Bachelor series has come long way since sex was never discussed. We used to get fireworks in distance when the door of Fantasy's suite closed, but this feels like a throwback to franchise that has finally taken baby steps towards sex positivity and, more generally, realistic human interaction. As Ariel brilliantly and sarcastically told Zach she appeared on live show at beginning of finale, Zach made entire Fantasy suite about sex when it didn't need to be, and about himself it should. It was about every woman and her individual relationships. "You took away my agency and even my ability to speak," Ariel says. He only gave this power to Kaity, and luckily Zach is now her fiancé. And they seem happy, telling Jesse that they're planning to live together in Austin this summer. Good thing she's helped make some furniture for him, and they're aiming for a wedding in 2025. However, the Bachelor already got what she wanted.